Deacon sat motionless in his car, parked outside Taylor's office for nearly 20 minutes, unable to move. The envelope still burned in his hands, the test results, the files, the photos, all of it evidence of the one truth he never expected to face. Luna wasn't who Sheila said she was. She was more. Or less. Or maybe something else entirely. What mattered wasn't just the manipulation, it was the deliberate silence. Sheila had kept it all from him. For months. And not just him. Everyone. The Forresters. Hope. Finn. Even Luna herself didn't seem fully aware of how much she'd been used. Deacon felt gutted. Sheila hadn't just lied, she'd rewritten lives, rewritten bloodlines, rewritten trust. And so, he came to Taylor. Not as a husband, not as a man seeking passion, but as someone drowning in secrets he hadn't chosen to keep. Taylor was calm when she opened the door. Professional, poised, but her eyes narrowed slightly when she saw him. It had been years since they'd had more than a polite hello. There had been a time when things between them could have gone somewhere before age, before Sheila, before everything. But that was another life. She led him inside. He barely spoke for the first 10 minutes. Just paced. Then finally, "Sheila's been lying to me. About Luna. About everything. And now you don't know who I am in this anymore." Taylor leaned forward, all therapist, all compassion. "Start from the beginning," she said. He did. He told her everything, how Sheila manipulated the paternity tests, how she maneuvered Luna like a pawn in a sit game, how Deacon had defended her, loved her, even fought to convince the Forresters she had changed. And now, he was left holding the wreckage. Taylor listened without judgment, without interruption. Her stillness gave him permission to be honest. And in that honesty, something shifted. The way her eyes lingered, the softness in her voice. The way she reached out to steady his hand, not as a doctor, but as someone who knew exactly what betrayal felt like. The first spark wasn't romantic. It was emotional, human, a shared ache. But once lit, it smoldered. They saw each other again. Once. Then again. At first, it was under the veil of therapy. Deacon needed clarity. Taylor offered support. But each session grew longer, more personal. Their laughter came easier. Their silences more intimate. One night, Deacon stayed after hours. Rain poured outside. The building was empty. He lingered in her office, neither of them rushing the goodbye. She brought him tea. They sat on the floor, talking about nothing, childhoods, regrets, the roads not taken. Then it happened. A pause. A glance. A breath too long. And then the kiss. It should have stopped there. But it didn't. The next morning, Taylor was the first to say it. This was a mistake. But neither of them believed it. They tried to keep it hidden, even from themselves. But Brooke noticed immediately. She confronted Taylor during a staff event at Forrester. "You've been seeing Deacon." It wasn't a question. Taylor didn't deny it. "It wasn't planned," she said, trying to keep her voice calm. Brooke scoffed. "You think I care if it was planned? He's married to Sheila. And you're supposed to be better than this." Taylor didn't flinch. "And yet you forgave Ridge for worse." Brooke's eyes flashed. "This isn't about Ridge. It's about you, choosing Deacon now, while everything is falling apart. You're playing with fire, Taylor. And you know it." But Brooke wasn't the only one watching. Sheila found out. Not through gossip, but through Deacon himself. He confessed, part guilt, part defiance. He said it was over between them. That he didn't trust her anymore. That what they had was built on denial and survival, not love. Sheila didn't react at first. She nodded, quiet, measured. But Deacon saw it in her eyes, the calculation, the rage, the wounded pride. She disappeared for 2 days. When she returned, Luna had already been served with a cease and desist order. Sheila had gone to court, quietly, trying to declare Luna emotionally unfit to raise her child. She presented fabricated reports, made vague accusations, planted enough doubt to stir a fresh wave of headlines. The message was clear: if Deacon chose Taylor, Sheila would burn the ground under all of them. And she wasn't done. She cornered Brooke next. Of all people. Told her everything. Described the nights Deacon spent at Taylor's. The things he said. The things they did. Not as a warning, but as a weapon. Brooke stormed into Taylor's office that afternoon. "You think this is love?" she screamed. "It's trauma. You and Deacon are just licking each other's wounds and calling it fate." Taylor stood her ground. "You don't get to police my healing, Brooke, you don't get to destroy families just because yours didn't work out, Brooke snapped. The tension exploded. Ridge was dragged in. Again? And this time, he didn't know where to stand. Brooke was his wife. Taylor was his past. But now, Taylor was with Deacon, who had once ruined his life, and now seemed determined to rewrite the rules again. Forrester was no longer a fashion house, it was a battlefield. Steffi took Taylor's side. Hope defended her father. Thomas said nothing, but his silence felt heavy. The boardroom became hostile. Brooke wanted Deacon banned from all events, citing moral liability. Taylor pushed back. Ridge tried to mediate, but every word felt like betrayal to someone. The press got wind. Photos leaked Taylor and Deacon holding hands in a cafe. An article titled "Forbidden Flame, Therapist and Ex-Con Reignite Decades-Old Spark." The comments were brutal. The speculation worse. Through it all, Deacon stood by Taylor. He told her he wouldn't run. That this was real. That it wasn't just about Sheila. But temptation isn't the only danger. Comfort becomes dependence. Passion becomes distraction. And Taylor, who had spent years rebuilding her identity, began to question if this mess was worth it. Then came the party. A Forrester benefit. Black tie. Packed with donors. Cameras everywhere. Deacon attended with Taylor. Hand in hand. Public. Bold. Brooke arrived with Ridge. The tension between the four of them was visible across the room. Then, Sheila showed up. Uninvited. Dressed to kill. Eyes locked on Deacon. She stood at the edge of the dance floor, smiling. Watching. No one stopped her. No one dared. She approached Taylor first. "You've always been predictable," she said. "But sleeping with my husband, that's a new low even for you." Taylor didn't blink. "He was never yours. You held him hostage with guilt." Deacon intervened. Sheila turned to him. "You think she's safe, Deacon? You think she'll survive what's coming?" Security escorted her out, but her words lingered. Later that night, Taylor told Deacon, "She's not finished. She never is." Deacon didn't disagree, but he also didn't back down. "I'm not running," he said. "No," Taylor replied, "but we might be walking into a fire." And maybe they were. Because in Los Angeles, love doesn't bloom, it combusts. And the deeper Deacon and Taylor fell, the more everything else Forrester, Brooke, Ridge, Sheila, Luna spiraled. This wasn't just an affair. It was a reckoning. And no one was ready for what came next. Deacon never expected to find himself standing at Taylor's door, especially not like this, not with a marriage unraveling behind him and guilt slamming into his chest like a freight train. But there he was, hands in his pockets, staring at the polished wood of her front porch, wondering how the hell he got to this point. Everything with Sheila had spiraled, fast. Their marriage, already shaky from the outside, had been held together with tape and denial for months. But the secrets around Luna's secrets Sheila swore were to protect the family had cracked the foundation. And when Deacon discovered just how far she'd gone, locking Luna away, sedating her, manipulating her pregnancy, something inside him snapped. He had tried to justify it, tried to convince himself Sheila was just scared, just desperate. But watching Finn drag Luna from that facility, pale and broken, carrying his unborn child, that was the moment Deacon realized Sheila hadn't changed at all. She never would. He needed clarity, a place to think, a voice that wasn't soaked in chaos. That voice was Taylor. She opened the door, surprised but not hostile. She stepped aside, letting him in without a word. He hadn't been inside her house in over a year, not since that family intervention with Steffi. Back then, things were simpler. He wasn't married to a manipulative sociopath. He wasn't complicit in covering up a near kidnapping. And he definitely wasn't carrying around the weight of what he was feeling now, something darker, sharper, something that had nothing to do with Luna or Sheila, and everything to do with Taylor. She poured him tea, sat down across from him. Quiet. Let him speak. "I think my marriage is over," he said finally. Taylor didn't blink. "You think, or you know?" "I know," he admitted. "Sheila. She lied. She hid Luna. She told me it was for the baby's safety, but it was about control. She couldn't let go, couldn't risk Luna telling the truth. And I let it happen." "You didn't lock the door," Taylor said gently. "No," Deacon replied. "But I didn't open it either." Silence settled between them. "A heavy kind, but not uncomfortable." "You came here for more than advice," she said after a while. He didn't answer. He didn't need to. Taylor had always seen through him. That was the problem. The first time their hands brushed, it was accidental. A shared glance. A pause too long. Deacon stood up, pacing. He wasn't ready to admit what he was feeling, not even to himself. But Taylor wasn't naive. She had been here before. She knew how proximity and pain could twist into something more. And she should have stopped it. But she didn't. When he kissed her, it wasn't soft or tentative. It was desperate, hungry, like he was clawing for something real, something clean. She kissed him back. Not because she wanted to hurt anyone, but because she wanted, for one moment, to feel chosen. Not as Ridge's fallback. Not as Steffi's mother. Just as herself. The next morning, everything changed. Taylor told herself it was a mistake. Deacon tried to leave it behind. But they couldn't. What started as one night became 2, then a week. Late-night calls. Coffee that turned into hours. Confessions. Memories. The weight of it all pushed them closer. But secrets don't stay buried in Los Angeles. Brooke was the first to notice the change. She saw Deacon's absence. Heard whispers from mutual friends. When she confronted him, he lied. Badly. Brooke had known Deacon too long not to read the guilt behind his eyes. It only took one slip. One misfired text. One overheard conversation. Ridge found out next. He didn't believe it at first. Taylor and Deacon. It was impossible. But when he confronted Taylor directly, she didn't deny it. She looked him in the eye and said, yes. It happened. And it wasn't an accident. The fallout was nuclear. Brooke accused Taylor of betrayal. After everything we were building, Taylor. We were trying to fix this family. Taylor fired back. You don't get to lecture me on betrayal. You and Ridge have made an art of it. But it wasn't just about Brooke and Ridge anymore. The Forrester family was split. Steffi sided with her mother quietly, but firmly. She had never trusted Deacon, but she understood what it meant for Taylor to be seen, for once, not just as Ridge's second choice. Hope, caught in the crossfire, tried to stay neutral. But Brooke pulled her in. You're defending your father. After what Sheila did. After what Luna went through, Hope pushed back. This isn't about Luna. This is about you not being able to handle that he moved on with someone you can't control. The tension bled into business. Forrester Creations, long run on uneasy truces, began to fracture. Ridge wanted Deacon barred from events. Hope refused. You don't get to erase my father because you're embarrassed, she said. This company was built on second chances, but Ridge didn't want a second chance. He wanted revenge. He confronted Deacon at El Giardino, threatened him, told him to walk away from Taylor, or else. Deacon stood his ground. You're not the center of the universe, Ridge. You don't get to keep every woman in your orbit. But Ridge wasn't the only one watching. Sheila heard the rumors. And when she confirmed them, when she realized Deacon had moved on, not just emotionally, but physically with Taylor, the betrayal ignited something ancient in her. She stormed into Taylor's office. No pretense. No lies. Just rage. You took him from me, Sheila hissed. Taylor stood firm. He left you. I didn't steal him. You lost him the second you put Luna in a cage, but Sheila wasn't there for closure. She was there for vengeance. And when she left, Taylor had to increase her security. Deacon tried to protect her. Moved in. Stayed close. But the threat lingered. Sheila was off the grid, but never far. She had allies. She had plans. And she had nothing to lose. As months passed, Deacon and Taylor's relationship deepened. It wasn't built on fantasy or old wounds. It was messy. Real. They argued. They laughed. They began talking about the future. But the storm never left. When the baby Luna had carried Hope turned 6 months old, Sheila made her move. She kidnapped the child. Left a note. You broke the family. Now you'll understand what loss feels like. Every Forrester mobilized. Ridge. Steffi. Brooke. Even Liam. Lines dissolved. It wasn't about pride anymore. It was about saving an innocent child. The search was brutal. It took weeks. Sheila had taken Hope to Mexico, hiding under aliases, moving between compounds. Deacon was the one who finally found her. He confronted Sheila in a mountain cabin, alone. The standoff was quiet, tense, tears, rage, then surrender. He brought the baby home, but he didn't return with a clear conscience. The guilt of choosing Taylor over stopping Sheila sooner weighed on him. Taylor tried to reassure him. "You saved her. That's what matters." But Deacon wasn't sure anymore. And neither was Ridge. He visited Taylor one last time. "I loved you," he said, "even when I didn't know how to show it." Taylor looked him in the eye. "I know. But you always chose Brooke." He didn't argue. He left. Deacon stayed. And Los Angeles held its breath, wondering what the next spark would be. Because in this city, no sin stays buried. No affair goes without consequence. And love, especially the forbidden kind, always demands a price.